See, our version of multiculturalism, not how the people of Bradford slap along with each other, not how the various nations that have come to live in this country, that created this country. Not until this new multiculturalism of the world must now put global development on an equal par with international finance. It doesn't work otherwise. Our version of globalization must be one where opportunities, benefits, and responsibilities are more widely shared. Because the good economy and the good society are inseparable. Markets only work, when social benefits and private reward are well aligned. We are so out of kilter. We know about private reward. It is out of control. Out of control. I don't care how fucking much of a genius you are. How much of a genius do you have to be to rob us? How stupid must we have been to allow this to happen without demur? And what were the benefits that the banks gave us? What were the productive social benefits of Blankfein and the other names we know so well in this country? What did they produce? Chaos, ruin. Outside this room, it hurts. I toured Britain a few months ago. It hurts. It's sad. I leave the hotel room at about 3 or 4 and go wandering down the streets. Main streets, not the side streets. How many charity shops can we sustain? Everywhere. Not Scotland, Britain, England, Wales, Ireland. Sad. We let it happen. We're all implicated. Adam Smith, your own great prophet of the market and capitalism, wrote correctly, prudence, that great famous Scottish virtue, is of all virtues that most useful to the individual. Humanity, justice, generosity, and public spirit are the qualities most useful to others. On the same day this week, the Financial Times ran 2 pieces. The Financial Times, the Bible, on its op-ed page. Martin Wolf, the FT's chief economist, said, UK corporations are not run for long-term health, but for short-term executive wealth, with bad results for the business itself and still more for the entire economy. Nick Pearce, in a separate piece on the same page, the op-ed page, the page, writes, what if we asked how those in positions of leadership in our society, us, what if we asked how those in positions of leadership in our society can serve someone else? What if entering business or the professions were granted by the injunction that elites in a democratic society should serve the common good and not just their individual aspirations? The FT. No hippies there. Something profound is happening. Your philosophers, the Scottish philosophers of the great Scottish Renaissance Enlightenment, informed our world. They gave rise to understanding of what the individualism of how we worked our societies. It's true, and it's worked brilliantly for us, but what we've forgotten is what Smith suggests, that the paradox of individualism is that it only works when we act in concert for the common good. Otherwise, this mess. Capitalism has delivered little social benefit or common good. Not bad. Probably the best system we have for doing anything, but not enough. And why have markets failed so many people? Well, certainly unfettered markets in their current form are not meant to solve social problems and may in fact unknowingly actually exacerbate poverty, disease, pollution, corruption, crime, inequality. Globalization as a general principle can bring more benefits to the poor than any other alternative, but we now know, without proper oversight and guidelines, globalization has the potential to be highly destructive. Is that not what we are living through right here, right now? So how do we address this? How can we subtly alter the system, tweak it a little? What's missing? Not politics. Ladies and gentlemen, today when politics is unconvincing, even as entertainment, policymakers find it difficult to view the poor as independent individuals, lumped together, the poor. They worry correctly, politically, about the health, education and jobs of the poor. But they cannot see that the poor themselves can be independent actors, that the poor can be their own entrepreneurs and create their own jobs. Now, this isn't pie in the sky like they told us about debt relief and all those other things. This is real. This is what happens in India with UNICEF and in Africa with the microloan foundations, of which I'm patron. This works. You know yourselves, most of you came from absolutely nothing. Give someone a shot, they'll go. In our society, in our economy, we're lucky enough that maybe we can get traction, maybe we can get going. Put up or shut up. But policymakers find it hard to deal with that issue. Instead, in their drive for growth, policymakers focus on energizing already well-established institutions, but it may very well be that these self-same institutions are creating the chaos in the first place and actually sustaining poverty. Institutions and policies that created the problem cannot be trusted with the job of eliminating it. Look at the banks. Look at the Eurozone. Bailouts for the banks who won't lend credit, who are refusing mortgages. Bailouts for the sovereigns who ultimately cannot pay. More money to replicate again the grotesque failure. Where's the bailout for the poor? No. New institutions designed to solve some of the problems of society need now to be thought about, implemented, or created. We've argued that politics won't or can't do it, so what about charity? So I now speak as chairman of the Band-Aid Trust. Over the years, as Josh said, what is it, 150 million that you gave us? Magnificently from Scotland, huge amounts. Tom Hunter knows it's gone to thousands of schools, orphanages, animals, wells, medicines, keeping people going. And what I can't understand is that in the 21st century, it's almost like we've become too hip even to say the word. You listen to the DJs and they sort of put on the word this sort of postmodern ironic quotes. They say, hey, charity. Why? What is it? Charity is the ultimately human response of seeing another person in pain and saying, you know what, dude, let me just give you a hand up there. That's all. And the most that most people can do, stick their hand in their pocket, put a quid in the Oxfam or SCF box. Lose that instinct of recognizing a fellow individual hurt. Lose that. And we lose something essentially human. Something inside will wither and die. But charity has one central built-in weakness. It relies on a steady flow of donations from generous individuals, organizations, or government agencies. When the funds fall short, the good work stops. See, charity is a form of that old buzzword, trickle-down economics. The problem is, when the trickle stops, so does the life-giving help. As a result, there's a built-in ceiling to the reach and the effectiveness of these organizations. The need to constantly raise funds uses up the time and energy of its leaders when they should be planning for growth and expansion. But how? How can you plan for the future when you don't know if you're able to afford it? If you don't know where the money's coming from? How are you going to pay for it? So charities don't and can't make much progress against social problems. They literally put a Band-Aid on a few wounds. They simply cannot be expected to solve the world's social ills. So not politics, not charity, business. Well, here up in New Lanark, back in the 1800s, one of those great Victorian entrepreneurs who realized that just having this stuff, money, won't do it. He got to where he wanted to be, but then realized it's simply stuff. Tom Hunter said to me years ago, look, Bob, there comes a point, the third house, the fourth car, the jet, and another fucking Picasso? Why? So if you're business people, you're kind of, well, what can I do? What does this stuff do? Some of them started the cooperative movement. It's Cameron's new big thing. He likes John Lewis, a superb store. He likes the cooperatives. He loves the credit unions. All excellent. But there's one more way to go. That, I don't think, resolves the issue, and it hasn't. We know that because huge numbers of the poor are still with us. And ladies and gentlemen, it does not have to be that way.